We're not live. Hi.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna get any people checking me out. I do a lot of stories on Instagram.
Oh, cool. Oh,
So
this is
probably,
Instagram.
This is Instagram. So
okay, so hi Instagram. Maria's Instagram me people. Yeah. And what is Instagram?
Instagram is a social media.
I know, but how is it different? I've never done it. She does Instagram all the time.
It's different because it's more picture driven.
Okay.
So
creative.
It's more creative because people like images, and so they want to just look at pictures.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So you get the creative thing.
So you get like more like photographers or people that want to act like they're photographers.
Yeah. Right.
Because everybody's a photographer at this point. And so for Instagram, they kind of merge the whole like Snapchat. So they have stories that go visible for like 24 hours and then it goes away. But then it also has live. People like it more. I would say younger people.
Oh yeah, totally. They're like
I would say maybe
Facebook. I follow my grandkids on
this. Like 20 to 35 perhaps.
Yeah.
And then like the young kids do Snap and they do all the TikTok and whatever now.
Yeah.
So but I like Instagram just because Facebook has so much on the walls.
Yeah.
So a lot of gets lost, where Instagram feels more like an album, you know?
Yo.
So I was having a conversation with Jwow here, and I was asking her, I was discussing with her about the feminist movement, and she said...
I said, so check it out. I'm at Harvard in 1977. I'm in the second... class, the second co-ed class at Harvard. So my best friend was the year before me, so she was in the very first co-ed class at Harvard, and then I'm in the second one. And the feminist movement was just starting, and I was in the first feminist class at Harvard, and I don't remember what Joan's first name or last name was. Maybe it was Borisenko. But anyway, she did this course on feminism. And I mean, it was such a reaction. And we were talking about this. Feminism was a reaction. It was more of a reaction and less of a response to the craziness that patriarchy does as it subjugates women. And it was a needed reaction. It's like that moment when someone comes at you and your first thing is to go boom. You know, it's not necessarily, to clock them or anything. It's like, back up, and we're going to figure out whether or not I'm going to deck you or we're going to, like, whatever. But you can just come at me because I don't know what that is. Patriarchy, in many ways, was coming at women who were waking up. And so they had a sense of power of being able to say no and have the no be heard, because that's what it's a confluence of things. It's like you've got Stranger in a Strange Land creating the hippie movement. So now you've got men who want to be, as they put it, vulnerable and soft. Okay? And so they're trying to figure out this thing that they're told is bad. You don't have any gay people, but yet. You have them, and none of us are out because we don't want to die. It was 1987. Up until 1987 in Massachusetts, someone could have walked up to my boss and said, "I think Julie is gay," and they would have escorted me out of my job with security and brought my stuff out.
Oh wow!
So you did not say anything to anyone, especially when you were getting paid good money, and I was getting paid good money. So there's this moment of awakening and going, wait a minute, I am a human being. I know you've been saying because of the patriarchy that I'm not really a human being, that I'm just some step above black people and slaves, because I'm female and white, and I'm not a man, so I'm not valuable as a human being. And I mean literally, this house, Penny, her mom, and her grandmother to the bank equaled one human.
What?
In order to build this house. And like one of them had a job, one of them had the credit, and one of them had something else. And the bank was willing, because it was a progressive bank, to have the three of them equal one human that was viable for funding this house and building this house.
My grandmother was too old. I was young, and I would get married and move away.
Wow.
And so when my mother's income was the only one, but they attached those two things as concerns. That's all.
Isn't that nuts?
That's nuts.
Okay, and what women had to go through to change their name for credit cards. Like, all of these are
Couldn't change your name.
Or couldn't change. Go ahead.
You couldn't change your name. If you had I had a credit card when I was young. They just gave it to me. I got married. I wanted to change my name to my married name. And they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, you have to apply under your husband's credit."
What?
That's 1971.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, this is the history part that I don't. There's so many young women who's like, "I'm not a feminist," and I'm like, sweetheart, you don't get to have a vagina and have that word come out of your mouth with that kind of disdain. You don't get to do that, okay? Because too many women fought too hard for you to have the right to have choices, and literally died for it, for you to even speak like that. Especially if they're gay and a lipstick lesbian, and they talk about not being a feminist. I'm like, Bertha and somewhere else who was bigger than the door. She was bigger than the door. Maria, she was bigger than the door. She was bigger than the door, which came in really handy when I was being chased one night, and I got in the door, and she stood in the door, and the white boys who were chasing me just came up to this wall, and she's like, "May I help you?" Bigger than the fucking door. And so we fought too hard.
Yes.
For them to say that like that, you know? The whole feminist thing, you know, if you got feminism, why don't you have masculinists? Because it's a patriarchy. Because if we lived in a matriarchy, then there wouldn't be talking about feminism, because women are in the ascendancy, and you'd be talking about masculinist. Okay? I mean, it's like, all you have to do is flip it, which is why I don't want to flip it. I don't want a matriarchy, because a matriarchy, by definition, subjugates men. Can we not? We already seen what that mess looks like when it happens for a planet. If you think that women are going to be better because have you met some of them cackly women? Okay, the cackly ones who have power.
Explain those.
Oh, Lord have mercy. So you get women with power, at least in a patriarchy, who are trying to be men with vaginas. And so they're taking the worst of the disdain and the hierarchical disempowerment that can be the shadow side of patriarchy, and they apply it as women to people because they finally get to be in power. Like, part of what happens, and I'm just going to branch here for a second, part of what happens right now out of all of the Black Lives Matter and what have you, there are a whole bunch of white folks who are in this, well, I'm trying to be good. None of my black friends, you know, will talk with me about race, and how am I supposed to grow if they won't talk with me, like have you? You know, like, I feel like I'm not being seen and heard. And my first response with great compassion is, welcome to what it feels like to be black. Secondly, it's going to hurt for a while. Third, it's on you to keep coming back as you take body blows until black people finally realize that you're serious, and it's not another suffragette movement, the Civil War, blah, 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 where you take black people, you throw them as fodder into the movement so that you bolster up the side you want to bolster, and then all of the good stuff goes to the white people, and they completely forget the black people. We'll take care of you later. Okay, that's happened in pretty much every single movement in America that has gotten somewhere. Black people are good as long as we can use you to bolster our numbers or put you in front of us so you can get shot first. Okay?
Yeah.
So black people are kind of tired of that. And so now we have this moment where there are white folks who get that, who are using their privilege, and there are black folks who are like, okay, maybe we could build a thing that isn't about white or black. I know that sounds very, Miss America-ish, I just want world peace.
World peace.
Okay, it's like I know Miss America is not like that now, but Lord have mercy.
Please.
Okay, it used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be. The pageant. Oh, here's the thing. Pageants are fine. I love gorgeous people preening. Y'all, if no one else wants you to preen, let me say this: if no one else wants you to preen, come preen in front of me. If you pretty, I want to see it. Okay, because that feeds me. Okay, I go down to P-Town for a reason, where the men, when women are strong and the men are pretty. I was like I just want to see. I want to see you love your outsides. Okay, you got wrapped up in all that Christmas paper and ribbons for a reason, baby. right? And then you're like, oh, but really, oh no, I just, I didn't, and this is the men. Oh, no, I didn't do all of this for you. And I'm like, you should have. Okay, because I'm all here to just suck it all up. Now, what happens in a world where it's fine for you to preen? Where the study that they did in college that I was telling you about, where they talked about how in nature, and it's no different with men, in nature, there's a reason why the boys have the longest lashes in humans, and the prettiest peacock is male, and all the colorful things are male. Men love to preen, and then they're like, oh no, not really. I don't care what I look like. I just work out 5 hours a day so I can have an 8-pack. And I really don't care, because I really need an 8-pack to sit my butt in a chair for 10 hours a day at a computer, because you got to have an 8-pack for sitting at the computer.
That's right. Keep yourself up.
That's right. Okay. No, darling, you love to be pretty and preen. Okay. Women, I make humans. I have this thing where I just make more of what we are, birds and fish, and then like it's what I do. That takes work. Here's what I need. I need for you to be really pretty and go bring me back my ice cream and pickles, and bring me back. Like, you go out there and charm somebody and get me some ice cream and pickles. Damn it! Okay. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you get better ice cream and prickles when you're pretty.
Organic, grass-fed.
Yeah, it's like, okay. So there's a thing of acknowledging, like, biology. Men have the fat in their muscles. It's actually inside the muscle. So it is a shorter distance, in that millisecond way. It's a shorter distance for tissue to grab the fat in order to turn it into energy. Women store exactly the same fat on the outside of the tissue so that it insulates. Because you got to stay warm when you're making a human. When you want to get an 8-pack and you're female, any bodybuilder will tell you it is way more work than what guys have to do. Because you are making that soft layer, do the work that in another body is inside the tissue. The reason why men get ripped is because that cut happens with the tissue on the outside.
Nobody ever explained that to me. I feel like
I used to help run the number one natural bodybuilding company in the world.
Wow.
Okay, which is really hysterical. Look at me. No, can we be real for a second? Can we just be real for a second? I walk into these competitions. I've got the most gorgeous, ripped humans literally on the planet who are natural bodybuilders, and me in the room. Hundreds of them, and me. It was hysterical. Okay, and I'm like, obviously I'm not competing today.
I'm under permission.
Yeah, okay. Oh no, it was a hoot. It was absolute hoot. But instead of Like, I love it when women get ripped. Oh my God. Because there's a certain health thing that goes with that. I love it when guys are gentle with themselves and acknowledge what they love and don't love as long as they're healthy. I want women to be healthy. I want men to be healthy. And somewhere in the middle of all of that is a safe place to just be human and healthy that isn't the extreme of the ripped and isn't the extreme of the obese.
Yes, I'm actually dealing with that currently, for the fact that I want to be fit, not fat.
There you go. And I'm starting a 40-day Purium diet with Kalidasi. And one of the things, we start on Monday, and one of the things about it is, I've done this before, and Purium's like it's the best food on the planet. Okay, Isogenics, all these others, they're not all organic ingredients, or if they have some organic ingredients, they're not the highest grade of organics. Purium has the highest grade of organic fruits, vegetables, and proteins out of all of the shapes. It's just that it doesn't taste as yummy as Isogenics and all these others. And people are like, well, I eat ice cream all day, and this kind of tastes like ice cream, so I'll eat this. So I see Isogenics as being, and any of the others as being, a way of, if you're really serious about getting your body healthy, then you wind up with Purium. And it's an easy introduction to people who really want to be healthy with this stuff. You go on 2 shakes a day, people are getting off of their antidepressant medication, they're getting off of their high blood pressure medication, they're getting off of insulin. Okay, this stuff is the real deal if you really go after it, because there's like, and I know we're rambling here. Can I do this?
We're live. This is just for me and you, like, just to get together. If somebody watches it and likes it, then
okay, great, got it. Okay,
matter.
So the reason why it used to be that there were 5 pesticides that were organic that were allowed when they first started with the Organic Growers Association. So there were only 5 pesticides that were allowed. So that's why you could only get organic food in Whole Foods. And I remember reading an article that said, no one's ever going to buy ugly apples. And I remember reading it and going, guess what? Y'all are in trouble. And then, of course, Whole Foods and all these other things exploded, right? Okay, great. It's more than pesticides. It's, if you buy a pound, people are like, oh, well, I eat salads and I'm healthy and da-da-da-da-da. And they eat what they get at Trader Joe's or regular supermarket, and they get a pound of spinach. The pound of regular spinach has like 80 micrograms of iron in it. A pound of organic spinach has 800 micrograms, because that's what it's supposed to have.
Right, and then I'm gonna take you even further.
Please.
A pound of cooked organic spinach, cooked well for a long time, because it's concentrated, so than raw.
Yeah, and there are trade-offs on the cooking raw. Just cooked, not good. Just raw, not good. Raw and cooked, because you don't have the same fiber the same way when you cook it. And it's not the same kind of roughage. You need to do both. With not just with spinach, but I mean with food in general, have some cooked, some raw. You get these people who are totally vegan and everything's raw, and to me they look sick.
They look completely sick.
Yeah, it's like the macrobiotic. When people tell me they're going on a macrobiotic diet, I get so scared.
Yes.
So it's like everything in moderation, and in my life,
and in balance.
Yeah, and
right.
in balance, including moderation. The thing is, Whole Foods has been around for 30 years now?
Maybe.
And this guy, 40 years ago, was taking the highest grade vitamins and minerals and nutrients, feeding them into the soil, into things that would then get put into the soil that the food grew in. So it's bioavailable minerals and nutrients put into the ground to be made bioavailable in the food that he ate and that he was growing. And then it used to be only, it was like, Jennifer Aniston and Hugh Jackman and people like that could get it. And he's like, this is just not that expensive. I mean, really, once Isogenics and all those things came out, he's like, this is not that expensive. So you get, it's like 32 grains and vegetables that are the highest grade organics that you can't even buy in Whole Foods. What happened, the reason why there's so many organic food in Walmart is that they expanded that pesticide list to 15. So you are getting lower grade organics at Walmart and these places.
There's such a thing as a lower grade organic.
And they don't tell you that.
What?
So you think you're getting organics the same as
Well, I don't buy at
Foods,
Walmart anyways.
And sweetheart, if it's lower grade organics or everything else, get your butt to Walmart and get that, because it's still going to be
better than the other one.
Okay.
What I tell people, or at least my family and friends, is that it's often better to like use your organic and spend your dollars if you don't have much in dairy and animal or milk, like your butter. Yeah. Because you were talking about fat. We store toxics in fat. So, butter, milk, and all of that, it's a lot of fat stuff.
It's a lot of fat. Plus, they've got the growth hormone and that crap. So if you're gonna, I think that's really smart, actually, Maria, to do, like, make sure it's the dairy things and what have you, where it gets concentrated in the animal, and you want to make sure the animal's fit. Like, I'm like, I just want, at least start me with cage-free eggs, and I'd rather have organic cage-free eggs.
But and then for me, I'm to the level where I want pasture raised, because that's how a real animal is raised, right? And then the more we demand farmers and companies to have these products for us out there, the better we could get those animals treated.
Vote with our dollars for humane behavior.
I hear the conversations that the vegans are having, like, we're vegans because the animals suffer, and but plants are sentient beings as well, and we still eat plants. Like our body, from the top of our mouth all the way to our anus, it's eating itself, right? Like, it's carnivore sort of, right? So it's like, it's the circle of life. I think a lot of people that are carnivores or that eat meat, I love animals. You love animals. Like,
I love animals.
We love animals.
I love cows.
Right. And I want them to have like a normal cow life.
I want them to have a happy cow life.
Exactly.
And then it's time to get ate. I'm gonna honor that.
I'm gonna honor and pray, like, and say, thank you so much for the people that made this meal possible, the farmers that raised it. Thank you for this cow, because that's when you're receiving that energy, like, it's gonna come to you, with gratitude.
And I do the same with vegetables, because they are like, people when vegans are like, I'm this and that, I'm like, do you talk to your plants? Well, like, of course, plants are alive and sentient. I'm like, and you're murdering them too.
Exactly.
Get over it. Your broccoli's screaming when you stab.
Exactly.
Okay? So there's this thing, it's fascinating. If I can't see your pain, then you don't have it. So it's okay for me, like the vegans who are like, this is a cycle of life that I'm choosing because I can't handle or manage creating that kind of pain in animals, and I also want a more sustainable planet, and we change over to more vegetables, then we change our carbon footprint, and all that I get. The whole thing of more vegetables means that we've got more land for people and fewer toxins. Got it. But do not be on a high horse about how glorious you are as a human being.
Exactly.
Because you only eat vegetables. Screw you. Either you are acknowledging that all life has meaning and is sentient, and if you're going to eat, you're going to have to kill something. It might have legs and it might not. So wait a minute. So basically you're saying that a cow that can't run is okay to eat, because that's basically a piece of broccoli. Okay, so it's something that's sentient that can't run, so therefore it's okay to eat?
Right, because it doesn't have eyes
because it doesn't have eyes. Yeah, I love that one. It doesn't have eyes, makes sense. So it would be okay to go ahead and eat a blind person who didn't have arms and legs. They would be okay for food, is what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Okay, and no.
Right.
Just acknowledge what you're doing. Don't be on a high horse about what you're doing. Be real about what it is, because there's a prayer there of thanks for whoever gave up whatever they gave up to get in my mouth. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's few points when I think of the vegan. I'm like, if you go to a third world country, like people don't have a choice to be a vegan or gluten free or whatever.
Yeah,
they're
dude.
hungry. Like this is a first world problem.
Oh, it's such a first world problem. I loved this. So I've got fans with cans. We fed all these people, right? So I asked this woman for a food donation, and she looked me up and down and said, "I'm not giving you anything." And I said, "Excuse me." She said, You're not feeding those people organic food, and that's what they need." And I looked at her, and I didn't start off with the word I wanted to start off with. And then I said, instead, "Ma'am, did you know the Snickers bar can keep you alive for 3 days?" And I said, "At some point you want to ask me why I know that. A Snickers bar every 3 days will keep you alive for a year. You'll get sick right around 8 months, but it will keep you alive for a year. A Snickers bar, one Snickers bar every 3 days will keep you alive for a year. So you know what? You've got another 3 days to maybe get on your feet. So you don't care about them. You care about your principles around food because you shop at Whole Foods."
Right, and it's principles, and it's also become like an eating disorder or orthorexia. It has like a terminology. It's almost like, I think the people that are dealing with that type of principles, they don't like themselves, because I've seen people be very, very filthy and very nasty towards people like me who eat meat, and they're like, "You're a human, like you die," like, and it's like, wait, you love animals more than humans? Like,
and I do, and I still, because animals don't mess with you. And at the same time, there's a, it's not a pecking order, it's a respect for the cycle of life that is, as opposed to the order of life that's generated by our society. And so we get to be in alignment with what easily already exists. It's what we were saying earlier today. It's like Newton's like, drop the apple, okay, fall, drop it. So I'm gonna call it falling. No, I'm not gonna call it falling. I'm gonna call it drop to the groundness. No, it's gravity. I'm gonna call it gravity. Okay, and it's like he didn't invent. When people say Newton invented gravity, he didn't invent gravity. God invented gravity. Newton gave it a name.
Defined it.
Okay, yeah, it's like this thingy, the downy thingy. That's called gravity. Okay, right? We get to define. Hey, darling. We get to define gravity. We get to define our world in a way that actually gives us power. We started out talking about feminism in that first class. What we spent most of that class doing was redefining the language around being female, so that it wasn't like, for example, we talk about background and foreground, and there's this implication that foreground is better and background is just sort of the booby prize to the visual. And women tend to see background and situation more than what men see, which is foreground and what's moving forward. That makes sense. It's penetrative energy, receptive energy, holding the space in the background. By saying foreground and background, in a way, in a patriarchy that says the background's the booby prize, there's all this stuff that gets missed. And what the FBI teaches their super spies is to get over their stuff and pay attention to background. The first thing that you do is you walk in a room and you do a quick assessment. Is there any immediate threat? And then you look in the background and you look at all of the background. And then you go back to the foreground. And guys have a harder time with this than the women do. Because I'm like, I'm always looking, where are the exits and who's there in the background and da-da-da-da-da. And the guys
Wait, for real?
No, for real.
I do that all the time.
I know, sweetie.
I didn't know that was part of being a woman.
That's part of your receptive energy, is taking in what's going around. It's one of the neatest ways and fastest ways to have a gestalt about what your situation is.
Huh.
Isn't that cool?
That's cool.
Okay, I love it. I love it. So this balance of penetrative and receptive energies, I'm not creating a thing, I'm renaming. If you name a rose dog shit in our society, it's not going to sell well. It's like the Americans could not figure out.
Nova.
Exactly, the Americans.
Oh, yeah, the car.
When they sent that down to Mexico and it didn't sell, it's like, it's Nova. Why would I get a car that doesn't go?
Right.
Okay, right. So the naming matters. When you name something masculine and feminine, you have now de facto assigned it to genders. When you name something penetrative and receptive, gender doesn't matter.
May I interrupt?
Oh, please do. It's not an interruption. Go, please.
So in Spanish, the really interesting concept about this female and male concept, or for example, the moon is la luna.
La luna.
So it's feminine.
Yes, and the sun.
And the sun is el sol.
Which
however, in other languages, it's vice versa. The sun is feminine.
I have watched this conversation. I can't tell you which is the language that reversed it, but the
Is
person
it
who
German?
grew, I don't remember, but it was a conversation between, and it was in English, so I don't remember, between someone.
Would you like a cup of tea or anything?
It's sure, whatever it is.
That's Ray, everybody. They both spoke English, and I was there, and it was a lovely conversation about, well, our moon is feminine. And well, no, it was only feminine. Our moon is female. It's like, our moon is male. And then they were talking about, and then they proceeded to talk about the same qualities of the moon from penetrative, and now thinking back, penetrative and receptive versions of the same qualities. I was like, do you guys know that you just said the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I would actually, that's a good one. I would love to get someone who understands what we're talking about, two people who understand the penetrative and the receptive, whose first languages are the ones that flip the moon and the sun. And then put a camera and let them talk about the qualities, and then talk about where the central qualities then turn penetrative or receptive depending upon which one they've done. Okay, I want that conversation. Can we do that one? Okay, boom. All right, y'all heard it here. That's going to be happening. If you know what languages to talk about. We got Spanish on
I'll
one.
research it.
Yeah, and then we get somebody. We're going to do this.
Because we're building more bridges.
More bridges. She wrote me a pretty thing about bridges. Okay. All right,
well, if you don't know, this woman here.
I love this one. I love this one. I like this one. I like this one. I like this one. I like this one. Okay, we're going to keep her. Penny and me, we decided that we're going to keep you, Maria. And when she sees Edwin, she's going to keep him too. Okay, and so we're going to keep you guys. And I'm sure your kids are very welcome, but she hasn't met your kids yet. And so we're gonna keep you guys because you're yummy. So.
Thank you.
I love this one so much. You're doing stuff, baby. You're doing stuff.
So bridges. Talk about language of inclusion. I'm here learning about how masculine I am. So if you've been seeing my posts about about masculine and feminine receptive energy, and you're like, what the hell that shit talking about? So this is my elder, my beloved, my lady.
Yes, ma'am.
Me lady. How would you say that? Because you write M-I.
It's Milady.
Milady.
Yeah.
She calls me Milady.
Well, because it fits. You're so elegant in your. I just love the way you
Milady.
are. Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about here. Even though we went all around the world.
Yeah, we went all around the world because welcome to Planet Jwow. There's decaf green tea. We're gonna have some tea with y'all.
Yeah.
We got pomegranate black tea.
What's your favorite?
My favorite is actually Earl Grey. You ever had Earl Grey tea?
I think
It's got bergamot in it.
Bergamot.
Yeah.
You know what? I do like peppermint.
Yes. We can get you peppermint tea.
Yeah, let's do peppermint.
Okay. I think we got an organic peppermint. So I'm gonna go. I gotta go get tea.
We got
stuff to do. All right. Hey, take care. This is my first Instagram. This is I've never been on Instagram ever.
Oh, okay, cool. I gotta do. This is a live, so we gotta do a short one, a quick one, because whatever reason people watch the 15-minute one.
Yeah.